Next up, in our practice of using charts to analyze economic data, we're going to take a look at a line chart. In this particular line chart, we're going to explore the price of a dozen eggs over the last 20 years or so. And so, first up, what you'll need to do is go online and find some prices for eggs during these years here. Now, I've just thrown in some prices, but I believe your worksheet will look like that. It'll be blank, but I've put some placeholders in here just to demonstrate what your chart should look like. And we will also take a look at some other formatting features that might speed up the process of creating a chart using Excel. So we've got years, and we've got the price per dozen eggs, and up through 2012 I've given you those numbers, and then you are going to go online and see if you can find the average price of eggs in the United States for the years 2013 through 2015. So I'm just going to go ahead and put in a few prices here, just make up some stuff. There we go. Now, a line chart, or what Excel might call a grid line graph, or the textbook might call it grid line graph, is basically a line chart, and it's used to show change of some variable over time. And so in this case, we want to see how the price of eggs has changed over time. So used extensively in the world of economics. And so the way we're going to do this is to, first of all, select the values, just like we did with the column chart. Insert. And then come on over here to charts, and you will see this selection right below the column charts that we used previously. We have line charts. And we are going to use just this basic first choice here. And so there's the basic data. And so you can see that the line chart going through time, it's a nice way to analyze the trend of some particular measurement that we're looking at. And what kind of a story it tells. Clearly something interesting happens here in this zone right here. And so as a student, you would be interested in making some commentary on that, maybe doing some further research as to why this occurred. Now, once again, of course, I made up, I think, those particular numbers. Yes, I did. So they may or may not be realistic, depending on what you find out there on the internet. So to format this, instead of doing like we had been doing by right-clicking and bringing up menus, you also have some tools right out here to the right side. And so the first one is for chart elements, and this is where you can go in and quickly pick what type of titles you would like to include. So the axis titles, right there, I'm going to take that one. That would be a nice one to use. Let's see, data labels, that's a little bit busy. The data table, we don't need that. That's just revealing the information that we have over here. And then the legend, if we needed it, but because we only have one series of data on this chart, we really don't need to put a legend in there. And then you got a trend line, which does some calculations and shows the overall trend of what's happening to the price of eggs over that period of time. So the one that we will use, though, is axis titles. That'll be helpful. And so then we can just go in there and put some titles in. So down here on the x-axis, our instructions tell us to label that year. And here, label the y-axis average price. There, get my spelling right. Okay, and then we can take a look at some different styles here. And there's lots that you can choose from, and a lot of them really don't help much here. There's a real basic format there, which is one I personally like. Very simple, especially if you're going to print this chart. But you could pick something that maybe has a little bit bolder line on it. Let's see what that looks like. Well, that looks kind of nice. Got a little shadow there on our line graph. So that's style. And there's also some colors that you can work with, and I'll let you take a look at those. And then the last thing here is that you take a look at our filters, and this is where we can go and select data like we had been doing before. And so we need to do something with these values 1 through 13, and we need to put the year in there. So this is our x-axis, horizontal, so we're going to edit that just like we did before and select those years. And we've already got a title, so we could do that again if we want, but we don't need to. And I think we're looking good. I would just go in here and clean this up a little bit. I've been using title case, so I should keep that consistent throughout. Title case being the first letter capitalized of each word. There we go. And then you can go ahead and save this as a new sheet within this document. You can do the whole move chart again. Save it as a new sheet, give it a title, click OK, and there it is. And then come on back and answer these questions 1 through 4. And that will conclude our line chart on the price of a dozen eggs for these selected years.